Hello, Nursing 303 students. I made a very short PowerPoint to talk about the research paper that you will be doing. So we will get started. I think it's maybe 5 slides. Okay, things that you need to know about the paper. In general, number one, you're going to be using APA format. I believe that you learned about this as freshmen, and you have probably done some writing using this format. So some of the things that are included in this format, all of your paper is going to be done using 12-point Times New Roman. If you have a font that you like that is close to Times New Roman, you can use it. It needs to be able to be read. That's why they picked that one. 1-inch margins, that is on the sides, top and bottom, 1 inch for the entire paper. Double line spacing for the entire paper. You are going to insert a running head on every page. I have an example of it, and I will be talking about that. Every page is going to have a running head. It's kind of an abbreviation, or it may be the full title of your paper if you have a fairly short title. And the entire running head for each page is going to be in capital letters. You're going to indent every new paragraph in your paper 1/2 inch or close to that. You're going to include a title page for your paper and a reference page. Have page numbers on the right-hand top of each page. So even your title page will have a page number, number 1, so that when I look at it, every one of your pages, I can look up onto the right-hand top of the page and see a page number. You're going to include in your paper an introduction, the body of the paper, and a conclusion, and of course, reference page and so on. This part is listed on my IoT, and some of you also have this in your packet. So this is going to be on an OB or fetal disease or complication, or a pediatric disease, so something that children would get. It should be 3 to 5 pages, and that is not including the cover page and reference page. I actually look for it to be 2 to 3 pages. Of course, double space. It's going to follow APA format, and you can look on Purdue OWL. It's a good resource, but I'm trying to give you enough of the main basics here, but you will have to know what I'm talking about. So in this paper, in your introduction, the body, and the conclusion, you're going to be including the disease or complication, what it is, maybe a little bit of background on it, what causes it, and so on. The description, the possible complications of it, the treatment of it, and expected outcome. If you follow this, it will make it much easier. You can break your paper up into sections, kind of an outline to get started. So what is the disease? Describe it. What are some of the possible complications? What do they do to treat it, or what can the patient do to treat it? And expected outcome. Shortened life, perfectly cured, whatever it might be. This is due May 5th. That is on a Tuesday, week 8. If for some reason you don't get it done then, hand it in late. You still get points for it. This is worth a quiz score, which means you would get 5 points. Plus you also get 1.25 points for remediation. If you get a 75 or better, you get those points automatically. If you don't, then you would have to do something to earn 1.25 points. Okay. This is on my IoT. Some of you, the day students, have this also already. So hopefully you can read this. Okay, this is what you're given. This is what I use to come up with the points for your paper. That the most points you could get would be 75, and the least, well, whatever it adds up to be. So when we talk about the APA title page, worth 5 points if you did, perfect, right? This is going to be, and I will have an example of it a couple slides from now. It is going to have, of course, your page number. It's going to have the title of your research paper. It's going to have your name. It's going to have something like perhaps Salem IoT or Nursing 303, Salem IoT, something like that. It doesn't need to be exactly like they show. So if you did not have any title page present, you just spaced it or whatever, you would still get 2 points out of the 5. If you have a title page, but it doesn't have everything in it, you forgot to put the title on it or your name or something like that, you get 3 points. If everything is on it, you get 4 points. Well, how could you get 5 then? It says it has to contain all the parts and it exceeds expectations of professionalism. Not quite sure how you do that, but don't draw pictures. Just do it the way it says. Next thing, it says running head and page numbers. The running head and the page numbers are going to be on every one of your pages. You would get 5 points for that if you do that on every one of them. If you do not include one or the other, you are down to 2 points immediately. If you put them on there, but they're not correctly formatted, so let's say that your running head was not capitalized or your page number was at the bottom, you could still get 3 points. If the running head and page numbers are included and correctly formatted, you get 4 points. And if you've somehow exceeded and done way over the top, you will get 5. If I'm having a lenient day or something. Okay, APA reference page. This is at the end of your paper. You could get 10 points for that. If you do not even include it, you still get 4. If you include it, but there are many APA guideline errors, you will get 6 points. If you've followed most of the guidelines, you'll get 8. And if you've included it and it's perfect, almost perfect, you get 10. That's probably one of the more difficult parts of this paper. Okay, paper length. This does say 2 to 3 pages. It was suggested that it be, 3 to 5 pages, something like that. But so if it is 2 to 3 pages, you get 5 points. If it's less than 2 pages, 2 points. You're really knocked down for that. If it is 2 to 3 pages, but you have many APA formatting errors. So let's say you triple space it or your margins are 4 inches, something like that. You're going to be down to 3 points. If you do not have many errors, you get 4 points. And if there's no formatting errors, you get 5. You getting bored going through this yet? Grammar, punctuation, spelling. It does the same thing when we're talking about grammar. Are your sentences complete? Is your spelling okay? Can I read it to make sense of what you're saying? So this goes from 10 points down to 4 points. If you only got 4 points out of that, it said you would have numerous grammar, punctuation, and spelling errors. So good to look over your paper. You may as well get all those 10 points. Organization. This is the one that some of you may have difficulty with, organizing your paper. So the first thing you need to think of is your introduction, the body of the paper, and your conclusion. Make sure you have those. Your introduction is what? This is what I'm going to tell you. Then you tell them in the body, and then what did I tell you? Something like that. So it does say, if you only get 4 points out of those 10, you're not organizing into paragraphs. One paragraph shouldn't be all that you have for your introduction or your body or your conclusion. That would be 3 paragraphs total. You need to have, for every paragraph, it says an introductory sentence, and you have to have a conclusion for every paragraph. I realize this is worth 5 points. This is not like you're going to be spending a month writing it, but you maybe could put 1 sentence at the beginning of a paragraph, 1 sentence at the end of it, and fill in whatever you missed. If you do put the information into paragraphs, but the information is not detailed and the next paragraph has nothing to do with the previous one, yeah, you don't get all the points either. So let's jump up to how do you get those 10 points. It says information is very organized into excellently constructed paragraphs. Each paragraph has an introductory sentence, has at least 3 details, and a concluding sentence. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. And this one, we're starting off with the introduction here. What do you need for this introduction? It's worth 5 points. If you don't even put an introductory paragraph, so you just jump right into the body of it, you're going to get 2 points out of 5. But you could also get only 2 points if the paragraph does not introduce the topic, whatever your topic is. And I'm leaving it up to each of you to pick your own. If you have someone in your family, or you know of somebody, a friend or neighbor, a book that you've read or an article, if you've taken care of a patient, probably haven't, because we're talking about children, but you can pick what you want, something you're interested in, and it will perhaps make it easier. Okay, if the major points are addressed, but not well supported or discussed. So you give me a really good introduction, and then I read the paper, and it's like your introduction had nothing to do with the paper. So let's jump up to 4 points out of 5, which is satisfactory. It does say some background information included. Major points need to be stated more clearly and be better supported. And then finally, you can get 5, and that would be exceptional. What about your conclusion? Your conclusion. This isn't just a sentence like, this was my favorite subject to talk about. No, it says information. If you only get 2 points, it has little to do with the main topic. You're just signing off. Or you are not, your analysis is not well enough organized or clear. This is also not a paper that you are including yourself in. This is not a story. It's not a novel. It's not a, so just to kind of back up, because now we're talking about introduction, you wouldn't be saying, I'm writing this paper because I know of a child, etc., etc. No, you're writing this as more of a scientific research paper. So you're talking in, would it be third person? Okay. So in the conclusion, again, we're going to jump up to satisfactory. Information is clearly related to the main topic, and you provide some supporting details or examples. If we go up to exceptional, you're providing exceptional and thought-provoking analysis, etc. Body of paper. This is what most of it will be, probably. So it would be at least probably a page and a half. Could be 2 or 3 pages. So if the body of your paper, which is going to be worth 10 points, does not support the introduction or the conclusion, I read the introduction, I read the conclusion, then I read the body, and it's like, where did this come from? I don't actually think that or say that, but you would get 4 points. If I put you up to satisfactory, it says the body of your paper does support the introduction and conclusion, and you have few APA or citation errors. You're going to be citing your references, at least a few of them. If you do not cite them, if you do not bring them up, you cannot use them as your references. So to get the full 10 points, the body of your paper needs to support the introduction and the conclusion very well. You can have no APA or citation errors. Of course, I'm a little lenient on that. Timeliness. This is worth 10 points, a possible 10 points. It says right underneath that, deduct 5 to 10 points for late work. And I said, turn it in, even if it's late. So let's go to, if you turn it in after the due date, oh, wow, you lose 10 points. You don't even get any at all. If you turn it in the day it is due, but after class, I'll take away 5. On time, the beginning of class, plus 5. And if you turn it in early, you get plus 10. So kind of strange, because this is all the 10 points is into your score of 75. So it's not like it's perhaps exceptional, like you're getting extra points. So it is saying that if your total points are 75, you've done exceptional. I haven't had a student get 75, get every one of the points yet. If 56 points is satisfactory. So all you have to do is figure out your grade, and I actually do put your grade on here. Like, do you get a 75% or a 92% or whatever it might be. So you're going to get a score. You're going to have this out of 75 points total. So when it says turned in after the due date minus 10 points, it is still worth turning in because you're getting the other points that you've earned. Your quizzes are on Tuesdays. This is counted as a quiz. So we're saying that, week 8 on a Tuesday. But since you have 24 hours to do a quiz, I will also give you 24 hours to do this, which would actually mean that you could get by with turning it in the next day on a Wednesday. I would leave it at that long. We're going to have to have a way for you to get these back to me, get these papers to me. If you have Word, it would be very good if you could use that. Word, even you can have it set for APA format. You still need to check and make sure that it's obeying your commands. It is more difficult when you go online and try to use Google Docs. Somehow when you save that and send it to me, they somehow get sometimes messed up. But I will have you, instead of emailing these to me, emails get lost or whatever, I'm going to have you uploading these, unless there's some reason you can't do that. Upload them under student files under NSG303. If I do not hear from you by, we'll say noon on that Wednesday, I will be emailing you to find out, if there's a problem. Sometimes if you email things to me, they get stuck up in, what is our, I can't remember what our, what we use. I should know that. What is it? They're always getting stuck up there and I can't look now to see what it, Barracuda, that's it, in Barracuda, lost. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. This is what, I realize this doesn't look like your paper because, but this is showing you if you thought about this being on your paper with 1-inch margins, etc. You will see where it says running head. That is what the first letter is capitalized and the rest of it is in small case. This is just for the title page. So what would be the title of your paper? Let's say it's going to be spina bifida. Make it short. The title of your paper then, spina bifida, is going to be in capitals. The next page is not going to have running head included. It is just going to have spina bifida capitalized to the left of your, to the left top of your paper, just where this is. So that when they say a running head on every sheet, that's what you're going to see, is just the spina bifida capitalized. Where the 1 is, that's really on your paper, would be up at the top, 1-inch margin, and over to the edge, 1 inch also away. So then on the second paper would be a 2, etc. You can set up your computer to do this. The next thing we see is down. It should be basically in the middle of your paper. The title of your paper. So in this case, it would be spina bifida. You could have a longer title for the title of your paper and then shorten it down for your running head. But title of your paper. Then you can see we have a double space. You're going to put your name. We have a double space, school affiliation. So you could put IoT Salem, Nursing 303, IoT Salem, something like that. That's all that is on that first title page. So things that you might need to know. Make sure that the title page is correctly formatted, like this. I said that the paper title is centered left to right in the upper third of the paper. The words running head, as we see there, only the letter R is capitalized and it only appears on the title page. Everything after that is not going to appear. It's just going to be the title. I already went over the page numbers. They're in the upper margin, flush right. I said that the margins are all 1 inch around. The first line of each paragraph, I said, is indented 1/2 inch. I said the paper is double spaced, including the reference page. You're going to use Times New Roman or something very close to that. Do not use plagiarism. Do not plagiarize. Make sure that when you are paraphrasing in your research that you cite it correctly. On the reference page, actually I'll wait for a moment because I do have an example of that. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Okay, this is the reference page, sample references page. You can see that it says references up at the top. Everything else, double space. First line, you can see everything for each one of these entries. After the first line, it's indented. So make sure that you do that. So references. Each reference has a hanging indent. Only references cited in the body of the paper are listed on the reference page. Capitalize titles in the reference list. The reference list is alphabetized by the first author's last name. And make sure that you do retrieved from before the URL if there is no DOI. Okay, have I forgotten anything? If you need more help on this, if I didn't give you enough examples, you can look this up. Purdue OWL is a very good site, but you can also just Google this. And this is also, two of these I did put up on my IoT. Okay, so good luck. The other thing about the diagnoses that you might be looking at are complications or disorders. You can also Google that, disorders of children, disorders of babies, diseases of newborns, and to give you a list of diseases that you can kind of look at. If two of you pick the same one, that's okay too. Don't get together and do it as a group. Do your own, but that's fine. You don't need to. Make sure that I will approve. Hopefully, whatever you pick. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna wrap this up and start in on another PowerPoint to upload. Okay, bye for now.